the GOAT. I can only be the best.
What's going on, man?
Man, long time no see, man.
No, right? It's been a long time. It's been a long time.
Early on when I was recording music in Atmosphere, I was like, hey, Bao, how does it sound? And you're like, man, it sound all right, man. It sound a little bit better if you get the track out. I'm like, what's a track out? And then you broke it down for me. So anybody from Montgomery who recorded music like in the past, 15 years would know, like if you don't know Bao, then you really probably not on the scene. So how you feeling today, bro?
I'm good, man. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you, man, and appreciate the opportunity to get interviewed. So I'm very, very honored to be on this podcast and speak with you, man, especially us knowing each other for so long and, growing up and doing different things, you know what I'm saying? But I'm doing all right. Doing all right.
Yeah, man. That's good to hear, bro. So we're gonna get into it, man. So what do you do for those who don't know? What do you do professionally?
Right now, I am a mixing and mastering engineer, and I've owned my studio business since 2009. So kind of walking back, I've been mixing and mastering professionally since 2018, and I've been living overseas as an expat from China from 2018 to 2020, say 2023, and then this year I've been in Vietnam, and I'm Vietnamese, so I'm originally from central Vietnam and South Vietnam because my parents are from that area. But we'll talk about that later. 2009 to 2018, I had a studio in Montgomery called Mixology Recording Studios, as you know, and you recorded with me along with a lot of people. And I have built myself up to be one of the top studios in Montgomery, I would say in the state, probably maybe in the Southeast region, who knows? But garnered a lot of attention and notoriety through just being behind the board, doing what I do, just recording. And then the quickness of what I did was mixing and mastering at the same time as recording. So, people will walk out with a song or two in an hour, finished. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of a rarity. Would I suggest that now? If you have the skill set, yeah, but probably not, you know what I'm saying? But then walking back 2005 or 2007, I got a placement with T.I. versus T.I.P's Watch What You Say to Me, featuring Jay-Z. And before that, I was working at Atmosphere from 2005 to 2007 or 2008. And then, graduated from UAB in music tech. So that's pretty much most of my background.
What motivated you to get into music like this?
Well, I played classical music. I grew up a classically trained pianist. So I played since I was 4 until I was, about to go to school at UAB. So, with classical music or whatever, you're playing somebody else's music. And that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to make my own. So I started off production, rapping at a young age, 14, 15, and, just grew a real love for it, and I had a full ride to University of Alabama. Most people don't know this, but I didn't take it. And it was a full ride for musical performance with the concentration of piano. So I played with, orchestras. I played with the Tuscaloosa Symphony Orchestra at University of Alabama before, college. And they loved what I did. They gave me a full ride, and I just didn't take it, So
Yeah.
looking back at it now, I probably should have, but it would be a classical bow and not the hip hop bow, as you can see now. You know what I'm saying? So, but it is what it is. That's what prompted me to get into what I do now. Like I wanted to make my own music, make my own production, and it's funny how things work out. God, man makes plans, God laughs. So it turns out, I turned out to be, I got a platinum record. I'm very capable of producing, but it also helped me with my engineering, and that's a strength that I think most engineers don't have. It's just a production type of ear, from vocal production to musical production, and then being classically trained and musically inclined, that helps me on a lot of different areas. So it puts me ahead of the competition or ahead of, whatever whoever's in my field. So I
Yeah,
feel like I'm just as good as the best of them, and or better. And I really don't look into competition, but I just really love what I do. So
yeah.
that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, that brings up my next question, man. I could tell, like, when you talk about it, man, I just hear a lot of passion
Yeah.
behind like what you do. I'm just
Right.
curious, like, what do you like best about what you do?
When I was recording, I loved how to kind of develop artists. Everybody starts from the beginning,
Yeah,
and a lot of people want to start at the end. They want to start with established artists and, get placements and, be at the top with these people. But, there's a grind to it, and it's a hard grind. And then you won't find many artists, but about a handful of them to carry on and develop with and go on the journey with. So that was the most enjoyable part. And, one of the people that was on their way was a guy named Dobie from our hometown, Montgomery. And, he tragically died. But not to say that he started with me, but as he began with me and I began with him, we developed a very musical relationship where, the journey just led him from nothing to garnering a huge citywide buzz, and then eventually getting a record deal, and then going to get a placement with Juicy J and T.I. on the remix, and that was really cool to see that journey. It was very difficult when he died, so but that's the most important thing to me, being able to develop artists from ground up.
right.
And it's better than just jumping into a situation that's already happening.
I mean, that sounds like a rough like experience, to be working with someone and you see the success that they're having, and then all of a sudden, tragedy, like in the hometown too, of all places. So
Right.
that sounds rough, man.
Yeah.
How did you overcome that? Wait, before you answer that, was that the biggest challenge you've had? And if so, how did you overcome that?
I think so. Well, there's been a lot of big challenges.
Okay,
It doesn't stop happening.
right.
It's life. Challenges happen, but I pray for those types of things, and well, I pray for focus, and I get challenges. So as
Yeah,
of late. But to talk about that specific incident or situation, yeah, I think that was probably at one of the most difficult things I've ever dealt with. To be on like a second ride. I get that placement with Tip and Jay-Z and going platinum the first time, and then that
right,
stuff going sideways, not going your way, not having a mentor, and then jumping into my own thing, working into that, then working with Doe B and building that up, and then we're on the way to the top. Like even Tip said, and a lot of people that were around at that time were saying that Doe was like the next big of the South, Notorious B.I.G. of the South. So,
right.
to see that coming to fruition, and then being along for the ride, and then grinding it out, making it work, the second chance type thing, for it to be cut down tragically in our hometown is debilitating.
Yeah,
How I got over it, I don't know if I fully got over it, what I'm saying, because that left a real stain. Like with the music business that I dealt with around that and surrounding his death, with his music, and holding on to it and not trusting who, and a lot of people just being two-faced. Like it really taught me a valuable lesson. Like, do I really want to be amongst these types of people, and should I be around them, and is it good for my soul? So it's just a lot of soul searching, and just I just had to really just work through it, actually, just as a robot. I was a robot for maybe 2, 3, 4 years, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And after he died, and um, uh, I just worked through it. I don't even, like I said, I don't even know if I really got over it. You know what I'm saying? I tried to develop other artists, but it just wasn't the same.
yeah,
And I still enjoy it, but at this end of the day, it just made me realize, like, family's more important. You know what I'm saying? aside from all the professional success and stuff, where I can travel the world, all type of stuff now, I think that's cool. I might not be one of the top named engineers currently, but I feel like I am amongst them. I am as talented as them. It's just not my goal to be in that realm because it's a lot that comes with it. But it's a lot that comes with anything that is of worth. You know what I'm saying? So, but I just chose my why, and that's more so family because I lost a lot of family around that time too, and that was a bit difficult. So, yeah, just being centered, man. I had to go to God and get my soul right around that time. And try to figure out what I was going to do, whether I was going to continue doing this or whatever. But I knew I could do this in my sleep, so I just continued. And that's what happened, man. That's what I did. It's God first, really. I ain't gonna lie. And then everything else after. That's what helped me get through it.
Yeah, that's heavy, bro. I
Yeah,
appreciate you sharing that with me, man.
it's all good. It's all
Yeah.
good.
Well, what advice would you offer someone young, interested in doing what you do, as far as like getting in? Like, what would you say? Something that no one told you that you wish you knew.
I would say don't go to school. And that might
Don't
be
go to school.
counterintuitive, but don't go to audio school. Or if you do go to audio school, use what it's worth. You know what I'm saying? You're going there for the language, and you got to put forth the effort to learn what you want to do. And a lot of times, from what I'm hearing, a lot of kids coming out of these audio schools, they don't learn much. So is it because they didn't soak in the knowledge that was there, or did they not pay attention, or they were looking for something else, trying to get a quick in and and go to the top? But I would, I don't, me personally, I went to school. It didn't work out because I didn't learn much. I learned everything on my own.
Right.
And from what I understand, a lot of self-taught people, self-taught engineers end up making it much faster than the ones that go to school.
Yeah.
Because your brain works differently. You work harder because you want to learn that. It's not that you're going to school and paying for it and then you gonna magically end up being Beyonce's engineer. It doesn't work like that. At least I don't think so.
Right.
So you have to apply yourself. But there's been cases where people go to school and have done really well, but it's like 10, 20 out of 100. You know what I'm saying? So you got to work really hard. Intern at a studio, clean the toilets, do odd end things, be a runner. And if it takes some years to do that, then that's fine. You just got to be committed. You need to stay single in order to do music. And you need to stay focused and be available and say yes to every opportunity, especially if it's a bigger opportunity that's going to put you in a better place, either short term or long term.
Yeah.
That's in a nutshell what I say.
That's solid advice. Everybody don't say that, but people need to hear that, man. School has a time and place, but it's not for everything.
Yeah, school I think is, a bit of a hustle, how they structure things,
Yeah.
with the student loans and stuff. You can have really good grades, you can have a really good ACT score, you can have a great resume coming out of high school, and then they don't give you a full ride or full scholarship. It's really competitive, honestly, but
Mm.
it's set up for you to go to school and take on loans, and school will put on these crazy interest rated loans as currently right now, from what I've seen, like 6.5%, anywhere to 15% per loan. And that goes from federal to Sally Mae type loans. And
Yeah.
I don't believe in loans right now. I mean, I do believe in loans to an extent if it's going to help you, make money. But college, I don't know, man. Like it does. You go to school and college to get a degree to make money, but does it even out? You know what I'm saying? If the starting salary is lower than your loan amount that you
Right.
accumulate, then does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. Yeah,
A lot
man.
of things you got to factor with school, man. Like, 'cause I know this because I'm dealing with this stuff with my son now. He's about to go to college, so
Oh wow.
that's how I know. That's
Yeah,
how I know.
yeah, man. It just depends on what you're going for. That's what I would say on that.
Right, right,
Um,
right. Yeah,
what?
you gotta know what you're doing, man. But school. I'm not saying school is bad. You just gotta really know what you want to do.
Right,
You might not know that coming out of high school, and that's okay. You
right.
might figure out some things, after the fact and change your major, or you might drop out and do some stuff. But you look at all the top CEOs that ever did it. They either dropped out of school or didn't go. So
Hmm.
they're on a different path of
Hmm.
self-education, self-learning, and having the passion to learn by themselves of what they wanted to do. And that's why I say, school's not 100% important to me. You know, it's a money grab in 70% of the case, 80% of the case.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So you brought up salary. I was just curious to know what can someone expect starting out in your career field, and then what are the potential career earnings?
it's a good question. I mean, when I started out, I think I was making like $9, $10 an hour. But that was back then in the early or late 2000s. And so with inflation now, it might be different. So I would assume, starting out, starting out, if you really want to start from the bottom, an intern gets nothing. And they, are runners for the studio doing any and everything for the artists that are there or the engineers that are there. And then you work your way up to assistant engineer and you might start getting paid there. But as an intern, you don't get anything. And it's a lot of grind. And like I said, you got to be single and you're going to be broke for a minute. But if it's what you really want to do, then, you'll do anything you can to sacrifice. But it's very low at the beginning, I would say. But I was interning because I got the opportunity to intern from the intern credit that I needed for school at UAB, and intern in the studio in Montgomery for about 6 months. But I was the first one there, last one to leave.
Yeah,
I was kind of immediately thrown into sessions, so that was even better. And then, but I cleaned toilets, I vacuumed, I kept the place clean, and earned that opportunity to be at that board. You know what I'm saying? And then I
right.
think, I got a job at the studio's Atmosphere, like you mentioned before. Atmosphere Recordings where I started at, and I think it was probably like paying $9, $10 an hour. And then I think I got eventually up to like $13. But I was making all the money at the studio and only seeing a portion of it. And I seen those books because I had to log them, and I was only making 10% of the or 20%, maybe no 10% of the business. And so me
Mm.
as an entrepreneurial family, I saw that like it just didn't make sense to me. So that's why I started my own studio. I actually tried to buy the studio, the Atmosphere, but the owner wanted way too much and based his numbers off of profits when it really should be based off of equipment and location and stuff like that. So I didn't agree. It was actually cheaper for me to actually buy my own building and set up my own studio, and that's what I did
Yeah,
with the help of my folks. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, but I got help from them, but I paid everything back. Within 1 or 2 years. You know what I'm saying? So it was a risk, but I knew what I was doing. I was already in that field, and I just started to make money on my own. And my clientele from there followed me for the most part. And it's difficult, but if you're working for somebody, I don't know, it's going to be on a low scale, like maybe 20, 30,000 a year. And then if you start on your own, then maybe 50,000 a year. And then you can eventually work yourself up to 100,000 or more. So,
yeah, yeah.
but you got to grind. You're going to have to grind.
It's going to vary depending on the route you take. That's what it
Yeah.
sounds like.
It's going to vary by how good you are and how business oriented you are too. Because
Yeah,
there's a lot of talented, creative people, but they have no business sense.
Mm,
and there's more talented people than me, you know what I'm saying, that could be doing what I do. But they have no business sense. So in that case, then you would need a business partner. But when you can't control a creative person and the creative person can't control themselves, then you ain't gonna do nothing,
yeah.
you know.
What trends do you see coming up in your industry?
It's a lot of AI stuff going on. So um, AI, I think, will eventually take over whenever, you know what I'm saying? It might be very soon, but that's something to prepare for. So, I learned another skill set in the case of that. So I'm not too worried about it because I've been doing this for a while. And, AI is going to be a disruption in pretty much in any industry. So will it, the question is when, and we don't know. But there's, indications that, music producers are already, you know, maybe feeling it or maybe also using AI to its advantage. So there's two websites that's out. It's called Suno AI and then Udio AI. You familiar with that BBL Drizzy, right? Well, that was created with AI. When that dude created it, he typed his own lyrics and typed up a prompt, saying whatever, like soulful, upbeat, 70s music with a male voice, and then singing these lyrics, and you can type in your lyrics and it comes up with the song in like 2 minutes. A
Crazy.
full, it sounds like that BBL Drizzy sounds like something from the 70s, you know what I'm saying?
For
And
sure.
very authentic. So, and then you can continue the prompt to continue to expand or make the song longer, but it
Mm,
creates it like at a minute at a time. And so you can add it maybe 30 seconds or a minute more. So you can up to like 2 minutes. And it's amazing, man, like, what AI can do.
yeah.
So in that regard, like, man, that's pretty scary. And then, I already know with the voice cloning stuff. So
Right.
either
Yeah.
you use it to your advantage or you will be left behind. I've used it to change people's voices. So I've used AI in that sense. I've tried that UDO and Suno stuff, and man, it's amazing, man. It's amazing. So it's either you need to embrace it and get to know it and be familiar with it, or die, you know, pretty much.
Yeah, man. Survival of the fittest or the
Right,
smartest.
right,
However
right.
you want to put it.
You
Uh,
also got to adapt and pivot. If this takes over and you're out of a job, then what you gonna do?
yeah,
So that's what I took into consideration, and that's what I did.
yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to add to the end of this? You given a lot of gems. You shared your story a lot. Was there any like last words you want to put on the end of this interview or this conversation rather?
Um, on top of what you want to do, I think you need to be financially educated. Try
Mm,
that's probably another thing that I would say to somebody coming up. As much as you want to do this, you also need to financially educate yourself because the sooner you start investing, the better off you'll be, and your future self will thank you. So I definitely recommend learning financial literacy. And there's a lot of things that are out there, like Earn Your Leisure. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Ian Dunlap and Rashad Bilal. I'll follow those guys. They have an Invest Fest coming up in August. And then there's a book called Roadmap to Financial Freedom. And the social media tag that is selling that book is Budget Dog. You can look that up. That's just a quick, start to learning how to invest, invest in the stock market. There's crypto markets too. So I do believe in, investing as soon as you can, you know what I'm saying? And the best way is the boring way, dollar cost averaging and investing every month and then letting that stack grow, in index funds. You ain't got to do nothing crazy, but there's another book called Psychology of Money that you should read.
yeah,
So financial literacy is super important. If you don't have that, you're going to be grinding it out and blowing money like crazy because I blew money a lot. Like earlier when I
Mm,
started popping off, I blew a lot of money, which was just pretty much a waste. And if I would have invested that, I would probably be a lot more well off. But I'm okay right now. But that would have been better. You know what I'm saying? So young people need to learn financial literacy because the way the world and America is working right now, you're gonna need it
you're gonna need it for sure. There's one more question I got for you. If you look in the chat real quick, let me
in the
put it
chat.
in. I'm gonna give you the option actually. Do
Okay.
you want to do a production question or a rap question?
Don't matter. Both can be fine.
Let me know when you see it.
I see it.
All right, you see what's on there.
Right.
Production wise, pick five of those.
Five. Okay, let's see what we got here. Doggy Style, Life After Death, 808s, Raekwon's, Cuban Link. We got Graduation, AT Aliens, Aquemini, and Wu Tang. Pick five, like the best in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just your five favorite because you know best is like it's gonna
Let's
be
see. Aquemini, because I'm from the South,
okay.
for sure. Ah, man. Um, it's kind of hard to pick. Um, I started off with the Ready to Die. That was like my first. Well, no, actually, End of the Wu Tang was my first hip hop album. Well, I don't know if I pick any of those. Man, that's. I know I wouldn't pick the Mobb Deep one. I would not pick the DMX one. I would not pick the um Life After Death either. I would not pick Doggy Style. Man, it's hard. Outkast. Let's say All Eyes on Me.
Okay.
Um, the
Yeah,
Outcast Aquemini, All Eyes on Me, um, Illmatic, that's three.
okay.
Maybe the Chronic, in the 1990s Chronic.
Okay.
Um,
One
that's
more.
four. And then five, man, I don't know. In terms of impact, shoot, I don't know, man. Maybe 50 Cent, because I love 50 Cent, man. I like how 50 Cent does things. I've read his book, the Hustle Harder, I believe that's what's called. But
That's a
yeah,
good book.
yeah.
I listened to it on Audible, so yeah,
Yeah, I read it and listened to it, so
yeah,
he has
yeah.
a lot of insight. But probably those five, man: Impact, Tupac, 50 Cent, Chronic, Illmatic, and Aquemini. That's
Okay.
probably what I say.
Hey man, it's kind of hard. It's so much good stuff on here. It's kind of
It
hard to know.
is.
Yeah,
All of
some
these are
of
good
them.
albums. All of
Yeah,
them are.
yeah. I probably wouldn't have picked the Mob Deep either.
No,
Next
no,
one.
no.
Yeah,
I mean, but Juvenile has his 400. That's like a monumental album too, setting Cash Money up. You know what I'm saying? So, but you got Life After Death. Um, that was one of the best albums of all time too. Double albums. Cuban Link, is great. I like Doggy Style too. Not as much as the Chronic, and 2001 Chronic was dope too. But
yeah.
that first Chronic, I don't know. Then you got Graduation on here. Then you got College Dropout. I don't think I would pick College Dropout, but some people are like diehard Kanye hip hop type fans. So
Yeah.
Twisted Fantasy,
Yeah.
man, I don't know, man. And then of course the Blueprint, that was monumental too. I'm surprised Stillmatic ain't on here, but Illmatic is probably the quintessential hip hop album of all time, and that's what I think Billboard said too. So I do agree with that. But I love all these albums, man. I listen to all of them, and I love the DMX one too. But I don't think it's monumental because it's modeling off of Tupac, and you could say Get Rich or Die Trying is modeling off of Tupac as well. You know what I'm saying? And then Ready to Die is landmark, but all those records on there were dope. But shit, the built for Cuban Link, the sound of that and the end of the Wu Tang hadn't been mimicked or emulated again, along with Aquemini and AT Aliens. So man, that's hard. But I guess that would be my 5 for now.
That's solid, bro.
Mine later.
I got one more, man. We gotta go super fast because this thing gonna end. Rank these 4.
These 4. Man, that is crazy. Kendrick is the last. I love Eminem, but I don't listen to him like that. Black Thought and Dre. I would say Black Thought maybe. I don't know, man. Andre is one of the top, but he's never had a solo album. And Black Thought's albums were great. They weren't like very well known, but I don't know, man. It's a tie between them two, I would say. But Kendrick is last.
All right. Who's number 1? You gotta do it. You gotta do it.
Shit. In terms of impact, Andre 3000. Let's do it like that. Yeah.
So Andre, Black Thought,
Well, maybe I would say Kendrick is above Eminem because I don't listen to Eminem like that. Let's do it like that. Eminem's 4th.
Okay.
We'll settle like that.
Eminem is last.
Yeah,
I
Eminem's last.
agree. I got Eminem last too. I'm a huge Kendrick fan, so
Yeah, I'm a Kendrick fan too. So is what it is. But
I appreciate you taking the time today. Super excited to upload this and let people see it, man. You definitely dropped a lot of gems in this, so I know somebody's gonna get something from it. So
I hope so.
yeah,
Man, I appreciate the opportunity to talk, man.